Hey everyone, it's Jack, and now that we're about 5 episodes into season 18, I think it's time for me to finally give some thoughts. I love doing these early to mid-season review videos because it's fun to look back after the season to see whether or not my thoughts panned out for how the vibe of the season was going. Looking back at my season 16 video, I think the season got better and better. Season 17, it fluctuated in quality. So for season 18, I am wondering how everything is going to pan out by the end of the season, because right now I'm a little worried with how things are going so far. Mostly in terms of judging and moves that production is making that kind of show their hand a little too much. Because as for the cast itself, I think this is a very unique one and one that I find very entertaining. So let's talk about that first. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 150k by the end of 2026. Follow my social media and Patreon, and let's jump into each of the cast members, starting with the queens who were eliminated. Didi Fuego is a queen that I don't have a ton to say about, outside from the fact that I'm pretty shocked she was eliminated this early. Basically everything that came out of her mouth was both super entertaining and on the pulse for a lot of the things that were going on in the room. She was very straight to the point, but knowledgeable about what needed to get done, and I just really enjoy her for that, and that's just why she didn't really scream first out to me. But she fell at the hands of a messy yet undeniable performance from Mandy Mango in the first lip sync. Mandy is a queen that I've already talked about in a YouTube short because I think her whole judging this entire season was insane. Episode 1 was the only episode where I do think she deserved that bottom spot because the bottom part of her outfit was really crazy. For episode 2, she had the best performance of her group with the most energy, but that was more of a critique if anything because they say it didn't match. In some sense, I get what Michelle was saying about everyone overcompensating in a different way, but I don't think Mandy's way was any worse than the other queens. If anything, she was trying even harder, which I think should be acknowledged. And in episode 3, I thought she played her character perfectly for what was given. She couldn't do too much, but even at the end when she ripped off her blouse, apparently that was in the script, but they critiqued her for it. She had like 2 lines and the rest was physical comedy, which I think she scaled up perfectly. But then for them, it was too much and she didn't play in her character. Every once in a while on Drag Race, a queen gets cast that the general audience really likes, but for some reason the judges just don't like them, and it's like, why even cast them in the first place if you're only gonna rag on them the entire time? Mandy is one of the most overt examples as of recent. I think there's other people that are cast that definitely struggle in the competition and the judges highlight that, but they always get like 1 or 2 episodes to shine. A couple people that come to mind from last season are like Hormona Lisa or Lucky Stars, 2 queens who went pretty early and weren't doing the best in the competition, and the judges kind of saw that. But moments like Lucky's talent show or Hormona's RDR live performance, they served as ways to show that these queens are still really good at what they do. And for me, it just felt like any positive that Mandy got was met with a but right after it. In general, I think Mandy opens up a bigger conversation about how the judging has kind of regressed in this season, but we'll get back to that a little later. Briar Blush is a very interesting character in the Drag Race sense, falling in line with someone like a mandatory meeting, a person who interacts a lot with key players of the season, but still goes home pretty early. And unlike the judging for Mandy, it feels like a lot of Briar's placements were pretty correct, and her going home here was just out of circumstance of her not doing well in the challenges or the lip syncs. I feel like they did want her to be a key player longer in the season because her dynamics with Athena and now Mia, they were ramping up pretty fast. But her having trouble in a couple of the design challenges and just not really doing well in RDR Live as well, it seemed like she had a really great personality that they could definitely get a lot out of, but as a competitor, she just wasn't the most ready for Drag Race challenges, so I don't think they could really find ways to save her. And also, side note, I do think the feint was mostly real. I know we're in a world of queens maybe potentially lying or stretching the truth, but even if it wasn't a full-on feint, there was definitely exhaustion in there that just caused her body to give out. Moving on to the queens who are still on the season, let's start off in alphabetical order with Athena Dion. A comment online that has stuck with me, and I think a lot of other people, is that Athena went into the competition thinking she would get the Sasha Colby treatment, but once getting there, she realized that she wasn't going to get that from the queens or production at this point. And just by the way that she acts on the season from the opening up until now, it's coming very clear that over time she realizes that at least with the queens, they see her as competition, but definitely not the clear frontrunner. With one of my favorite dynamics developing of them realizing how easy it is to rage bait Athena. She's a legend in Florida drag, and I'm really glad that she's on, and her personality combined with the edit has taken her character in a very interesting way, something that we really haven't seen before on Drag Race. She's down to clown, she gets really emotional, it's all things that I didn't really expect out of her, but I really do like to see. There's this vibe that the judging is a little protective of her. I don't want to completely jump to conclusions, and I don't have like the best examples. I think the most recent design episode is the best example of that. I do think Darlene won that, and even if her shoes were bad, I loved her outfit a lot more. Athena ended up taking it though, and I just don't think I agree with that judging, so I have to see the rest of the season to see how it really pans out. I wanted to give a quick video shout out to today's video sponsor, CyberGhost VPN, a leading VPN with 38 million users that has the goal to protect your digital privacy. Plenty of eyes are watching you every time you go online, and even incognito mode doesn't protect that. Your internet service provider, your school, your work's IT department, and even your home router. They can all track what you do online. And that's where CyberGhost VPN comes in. Simply select one of their 100 plus locations before you browse to encrypt and reroute all of your traffic through one of their secure servers. This way, no one will even know about your online activity. For my Drag Race viewers who are watching season 18 on WoW Presents Plus like I do, CyberGhost VPN works to move your location to a country that has Drag Race US available. Because year after year, for some reason, WoW is making it harder for us to watch the show. It works on all major devices and operating systems: Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and you can protect up to 7 devices at the same time, perfect for friends and family. With my link in the description, you get their best deal ever. Just $2.03 a month plus 4 months for free, which is 84% off. There's even a 45-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. It's a great product, and by signing up using my link in the description, you can help create more videos like this one. Thank you so much to CyberGhost VPN, and now let's get back to the video. Sierra is one of the more under-edited queens on the season, so I don't have a ton of things to say about her. She seems really smart and artsy and has had some of the best runways of the season. We just haven't really heard from her too much, and that worries me going forward. Darlene Mitchell is my beloved. I remember when watching the first episode, I texted Cornbread and was like, oh my god, this name is insane. And Cornbread immediately was like, no, that's like on purpose. It's supposed to be like that. And the more I get to know her on the season, the more I love her, and the more it just makes sense for her to have the name Darlene Mitchell. People are always talking about wanting mall drag back on Drag Race, and I think she is the highest form of that. That sounds like such a read, but I don't mean it to be. She gets a concept and executes it really well, even if that concept is a little trashy, which makes sense because her first name that she had was Trash. She is easily going to be a fan favorite coming out of the season. I don't know if she'll make top 4, but I'm confident she's going to win some sort of challenge, maybe like Snatch Game or something. Discord Adams is so awesome, and by the end of episode 1, I didn't know if I would like her, but now that we're 5 episodes in, yeah, I love her. It does help that she got an early stamp of love from the judging panel, RuPaul singling her out, talking about her audition tapes and how long she's been auditioning for, and of course the very iconic walk that she does. And I totally get her confusion on where they really feel about the walk, because sometimes it's taken as a negative critique, with Michelle and Law really saying that, while at the same time Ru is like, no, don't change it, I love it so much. I think it's gonna stress her out more having to think about how she is walking, so seeing the evolution of this walk on the season is one of the things I'm most excited for. Jane Don't is the embodiment of saddest little frontrunner, and I love that so much. Seattle drag has always really felt up my alley, so seeing so much of it being supported on both All Stars 10 and season 18, it's been very fun to watch, and Jane easily feels like a winner pick at this point. Her winning a challenge and placing high every other week, that's already awesome enough, but then throw in the fact that she is crying over being in the top because she's worried that people won't like her. It is crazy amounts of overthinking, and then the producers playing into it with Rate a Queen happening at this point in the season, giving the queens the power to make the placements where they want. That is crazy and so fun. And once again, the queens on the season are masters of taunting and rage baiting, threatening to throw Jane in the bottom because she is doing so well in the competition. Jane from the start was getting so many confessionals about the Florida queens and these alliances, and at that point it felt like it was just a spiral for no real reason, but it makes a lot of sense with Rate a Queen coming now in the season and her doing so well in the competition. Juicy Love Dion has flourished in a way in the competition that I wasn't expecting at all. With just how Drag Race casting has been going, to me I thought she was going to fit the mold of a really young, talented queen who's a great performer, but a queen who might not do well in the actual challenges, instead just tearing it up on the stage when they have to lip sync. After a design outfit in episode 1 that wasn't the best, she's been getting better with each subsequent challenge, even winning RDR Live, which might be a little controversial, but her performance was undeniably really good in that episode. And as of recording this right now, she just won the talent show tonight, so she's probably going to make top 4 or at least go really far in the competition. And that's what I love to see. She was one of the queens I was most anticipating coming into the season. Can You Pleaser is a queen that I'm waiting to have her breakout episode on the season because I know the judges really love her and her personality. It seems like she knows what to do and she's doing those things correctly. There's just some people who are outracing her at this point, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a challenge in there that's really up her alley and it's something that she can do really well. This past design challenge where she was placed in the bottom was only really out of circumstance because everyone else did good and the judging for it was just a little weird. The construction of her outfit was great, and even if it wasn't the most on theme, I think it was still a good enough outfit to save her in a normal circumstance. She'll have her moment to shine. I'm holding out hope for this talent show. I don't have a ton to say about Mia Starr aside from the fact that I really do love her. She has such an authentic personality and is easily one of the most trained, talented dancers we've seen. Personally, I do think she should have won the girl group challenge. I think that was her standout performance and she really carried her team all the way to victory. But I do think there's going to be other challenges on this season that she really excels at. And also, I've never really done this before, but I'm like locking her in for my Miss Congeniality pick. Yeah, she got into that fight with Briar, but judging by how everything has been going with Miss Congeniality, the cast much more values people who are real and are going to give it to you straight. And I think Mia does a really great job at that. Mikey is one of few queens on the season that I think their they're holding back in a way just to see how she reacts, because I do think there are multiple times on the season where she could have been in the top. RDR Live is a great example of that. Maybe her runway was a little basic, but I think she had by far the best performance next to like Jane. Her entire vibe is a queen who is safe a lot in the beginning, and towards the middle of the season she ends up high a lot and then gets one win and then gets sent home on like the makeover. That is exactly what it feels like her vibe is to me. Very likable, very good at Drag Race, but for some reason she's just not getting those placements. So we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the season goes. Nini Coco is a really great Drag Race competitor. She's great at drag. I love her drag style. I have nothing else to say. I feel bad because she seems really sweet and she's excelled in like every challenge she's done. Multiple design challenges, the RDR Live, like her physical comedy was great there. We don't have to talk about the girl group verse, that was just tragic. And I know she's gonna make it far on the season, but she's so polished that I feel like we don't really get to see much from her. The most interesting moment was when she lost her voice and still had to record, and she was kind of freaking out about it because she's a perfectionist. And those storylines are always so hit or miss whether that queen overcomes it or not. Right now they haven't set up too much for her, so I'm wondering where her storyline's gonna go on this season. And the last queen who's also in a very similar boat to Nini is Vita Von Teese Star, who is also really good at Drag Race and a great competitor, but I feel like we never get to hear from her. I have a feeling that she is going to go far, but for both Nini and Vita, it just seems like their placements speak for themselves. It's never really tied to the story. They're just like good at it and then they're in the top and win the challenges. So for drag artists, it's great, but as a sign of the edit, there could be stronger winners edits out there. That's the Survivor over analysis in me though, so take that with a grain of salt. I think they did a pretty solid job casting this group in general. It doesn't really seem like they're all best friends. I do love that a lot of them are over 30 and a lot of them are very focused on just winning the competition. So I am confident as the season goes on, the performances are just gonna get better and better. The challenges have been solid. I'm totally fine with them bringing back design for the first challenge of the season. It was very nice to switch it up, and delaying the talent show until now, it's kind of a random point at the season, but the talent show could honestly go anywhere. For this talent show, I'm very glad that Rate a Queen is back. It seems like they really perfected it in season 17, and doing it now when the queens are much more familiar with each other. Around a quarter of the competition is already done. It leads to more stakes and alliances with how the queens are rated. The girl group performances were not the strongest, which is unfortunate because we didn't get one in season 17, and a lot of people were asking for it back, but I just don't really see myself streaming any of these songs, and it's a little telling when they have a bottom 4 and only a top 2. Back by no one's demand is RDR Live. I do think this was the strongest set of skits that we've gotten from an RDR Live episode, but that's not saying anything at all because these were still pretty bad. My favorite was definitely the young Michelle Visage. I think that writing on that one was good. Everything else though just devolved into sex jokes or puns, and it's just not really clever at all. It's not well written. It's bottom of the barrel content that people can't really do much with. I know they're gonna keep doing this, so please less butter churning and more actual skits. Easily the best challenge they've done so far is the design mashup. They got some of the most iconic red carpet looks of all time to put together, and so many of the queens knocked it out of the park. This is a great challenge. I didn't love how the judging went with the who wore it better, because there were some pairs who both had the top outfit, and some other pairs by comparison that I do think should have been in the bottom instead. Just with how it was judged, some people ended up being safe because of their partner. And that brings me to the judging of the season, which I talked about a little earlier with both Mikey and Mandy. Mandy's judging was very sloppy, and it seems like they're holding Mikey back just to see if she'll crack. I feel like they're also doing that in a way with both Discord and Athena as well. Just down to how they're calling placements seems like a way to poke them a little bit. Like when they called the disco group forward to tell them that they were in the bottom, or calling 2 safe groups just to trick Mikey, and I guess the audience as well because Mikey was getting set up to win the challenge this episode. I'm worried for the direction that the judging is going, but it's still a little too early to tell. The runways have been top notch. I'm very happy about that. My favorite looks so far are both of Vita's design looks, Nini's poison dart frog, Athena's owl, Juicy's anteater, and Sierra's favorite body part. But even then, there's a lot of other really great looks on this season. As for the lip syncs, up until this most recent episode, I don't think they've been the strongest. Too Much was messy, but that was a fun time. While the other 3 lip syncs in episodes 1, 3, and 4, the queens just had trouble remembering the words, which was very distracting. It's similar vibes to season 17 lip syncs, where nothing is really bad, but nothing is really sticking out as of yet, outside of this most recent one. I think that's all of my thoughts on the season so far. This is a really interesting point to do it halfway through the talent show, because I think things were set up in this episode that are going to have immediate payoff, so we can check out how this video pans out right afterwards. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to my tier 2 patrons. And thank you to my tier 3 patrons who I would always put at the top of my Rate a Queen: Frankie, Shira, and Steely. Don't forget to check the link in the description for CyberGhost VPN with their special deal for this channel. This application will protect your data as you browse and give you access to all geo-restricted content on the internet for just $2.03 a month. I hope you guys check the deal out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video.